Hi everybody, it's Sarah Cray and I teach watercolor, and today we are doing our Let's Make Art Matter postcard for our Wabi Sabi box.
Ooh.
We have Keenan here working the cameras.
Hello.
And our Let's Make Art Matter program is this idea where we put in a pre-stamped watercolor postcard. Sometimes it's pre-addressed, sometimes it's not. And we paint a project and we send it to either someone that we want to send it to, or the postcard will come pre-addressed and someone receives the same postcard. So it's just, I feel like, a lovely way for us to come together as a community and show that art has power to let people feel loved and know that they are being thought about, and that if we just take time for someone else, we can make the world a little bit of a kinder place. So our focus on our postcard today goes with our Wabi Sabi theme, and it's all about Kintsugi. So I'm going to read a little bit about that and then we'll get into our project. Okay?
Yes.
So Kintsugi is the Japanese art of putting broken pottery pieces back together with gold, built on the idea that is similar to Wabi Sabi, embracing the flawed and imperfect. Every break is unique, and instead of throwing it out, we highlight the imperfections and move forward with an understanding that it is stronger, and the imperfections make it more beautiful. For this postcard, we'll be doing a Kintsugi illustration.
Fun.
Yeah, so I'm really excited about it. We have here, you can see my little sketches of what project we will be doing. This one is my favorite, so this is the one I'm going to teach.
Okay.
Okay, and the supplies that I have are the supplies that come in the Wabi Sabi box. So I have space blue, rose red, tangerine. I got my bleed proof white. I have my Lumier gold. I have my paint brushes ready to go, and my mono twin pen ready to go as well.
Sweet.
Yeah, so I'm excited about it. Now remember, the postcard is not meant to be perfect. It's also not meant to solve all of the problems, right? It's just a way for us to let someone know that we're thinking about them. So don't get overwhelmed with the expectations we have of ourselves for it to be perfect. Because sometimes if those expectations are too high, it scares us from even doing it, or we end up not sending anything, which I think is worse. You know, because it's just like, it's like when we're scared to say something, sometimes we don't say anything at all, but what someone needs is someone just to say something to them. You know what I'm saying?
Show up. Yeah.
Yeah, it's how we can show up. So I have a pencil here. If you feel like sketching, if you don't, that's okay. You can just go for it, but I'm going to start by just doing like a vase. So I'm going to have it be roughly like, I don't know, about 2 inches centered in my... So I usually like to start with a slightly rounded base, and we can check to see if that is centered. Boop, boop, it's a little off, so I'm gonna move it. Okay. And it doesn't have to be perfect. 2 lines going up, and you can make your vase any shape that you want. You can have it more rounded. I actually am inspired. I actually am basing it off of a vase that I bought from a local company. See that one back there? Mm-hmm. That's kind of what I'm going off of. And my son actually pushed it over and broke it. So then I practiced the art.
Perfect opportunity.
I know. It was literally like a week ago. And at first I was like, and then I'm like, actually, I can try this thing. So there it is.
What a great way to combat frustration too. Turn that into like a, okay.
I know, I did it last night, and my husband was like, I am so proud of you. I'm like,
nice.
Really? He's like, yeah, that could have just been thrown out, but look, you just made it so nice. And I'm like, this is based off of Kintsugi. So anyways, that's kind of the shape I was going after, and I wish I can remember the name of the company. I'll put it in our customer service because they're lovely. They're local to Kansas City. They also made that. Now I'm just talking about them.
Yeah.
Focus.
They're great.
Love them. But I'm going to change the color so the gold shows up a little bit better on the vase itself. Okay.
Wait, but what else did they make?
Oh,
The big one?
The big one, yeah.
Nice. Okay, cool.
That my plant's in. Okay, sorry. And then I'm going to do a little rounded top here. That's the top of it. And you can make this, again, bigger, smaller, blah, blah, blah. And then I'm going to do like a branch coming out almost with like white blossoms on it. Okay. And you can make your branch go a certain way, whatever you want, be full. I want it to feel like, I don't know, simple. Like not too crazy with detail, okay?
Okay.
So that's all the sketching we're going to do.
Oh, wow.
Now we're gonna mix like a neutral, creamy tan color. So I'm gonna take my round 12. You can also use your 1-inch wash, whatever brush you want. I'm gonna grab a tiny bit of rose red and a tiny bit of tangerine and a tiny bit of space blue. And the reason why I'm just grabbing a tiny bit is because I'm gonna have mostly water mixing all of this together to make it a light value. Now this is still feeling a little too pink. So if it's feeling too pink, then I need more yellow and more blue. That will make green. Green combats pink. And now I have a nice neutral and you can test it.
Good neutral.
Just like that. Now I have noticed, depending, and I mentioned this in one of the previous tutorials, depending on the colors that I mix, sometimes I'll mix a neutral and paint it, and then as it dries, it actually turns into a different color. I wish I would have brought an example. Like one time I mixed a neutral and then it was neutral, and when I came back to it the next day, it was like pink or purple, and I was like, whoa. Just saying. That happens.
That makes
sometimes.
me think of the Queen Anne's lace cyanotype inspired tutorial we did where the background turned a little purplish as it dried.
So just so you know, that could happen, but I don't want you to be upset or surprised by it. And I'm just mixing more neutral because we're going to be doing a whole background, so I want to make sure that I have a good amount of the color that I want. Okay, then let me test that. Yeah, that feels good. And then I'm gonna put it in the background, and then immediately I'm gonna do the blossoms on the bleed proof white, similar to that Queen Anne's lace method, where we're gonna let it kind of bleed into the back. So I'm gonna do an uneven edge because I really like that.
I do too.
It's nice, isn't it?
It is nice.
If your brush is getting too dry, you just need to add some water to it. Now I'm gonna be doing this section with the flowers last. So I'm gonna paint all the other area. So then that way I know that it's like the most wet. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay.
That way you get the most optimal timing for the blending, the bleeding areas.
That's right.
Is that the right phrase? That's a good phrase.
Yeah. Okay. And then have your bleed proof white ready. I got my tan. I'm gonna fill this in. It's okay if you overlap on your vase a bit. We're turning it into a dark value anyway. And if your background is not perfectly smooth, that is okay. We love this texture. We want there to be accidental blooms, all of that stuff. Okay, immediately you can take your bleed proof white. I'm gonna grab my 6. You can also use your 2. Grab some white, and then kind of along the branches, I'm just gonna drop this white in. Just along some of it, okay? And that's just gonna move and do its own thing, and we're gonna be okay with that.
Absolutely.
Whatever happens, we embrace. Now, I'm gonna take my heated craft tool and dry it so I can paint my vase. Okay?
Okay.
All right.
What did you use to fix your pot?
Oh, you wanna know what I used?
Yeah.
So I bought glue, like, I can't remember what kind of glue, but like good glue.
Okay.
And the Pearl-X pigment powders. I just used,
that's fun.
I just grabbed, it was a bonus item in our box, honestly, probably a little over a year ago. And it's this gold pigment that you can mix with a bunch of different type of mediums, with anything pretty much.
Yeah.
So I just mixed it with the glue.
Cool.
And then applied it with a chopstick because I didn't want to ruin one of my paintbrushes. So it's a little messy, but yeah, so if you guys have that pigment powder.
That's sweet.
I mean, it's not real gold, so it's not like the actual thing, but
Yeah.
It's cool.
It's hard to find real gold to fix things with.
Yes. Okay, so this is dry enough to where I can apply my blue. So I'm going to mix a dark blue. So I have my space blue. I'm going to throw a little bit of tangerine in there. You can also use a different color if you're not a huge fan of dark blue. And a tiny bit of red. That's going to make it really purple. So I need to add more tangerine to combat that purple. And then add more blue to make it blue. Now I have this dark blue.
Plot twist.
Plot twist.
Add more blue to turn it blue.
Okay, I'm going to use my 6. And just...
What a good color.
Isn't it good? I love this like tan neutral with this navy. And apparently in home decor rules, navy is a neutral.
Oh, well, would you have considered it not a neutral otherwise?
Yeah, because it's blue. Would you have considered it a neutral?
No, I have no idea what to consider a neutral or not.
Now, the nice thing too, I want to remind you guys, this vase has been broken. So if it's a little lopsided, it's still beautiful, okay? We're appreciating it for what it is.
Its imperfectness.
That's right. Okay, and then I'm going to let that dry, and while that dries, I'm going to use my pen and do my branches.
Cool.
So you can use the thick part. I'm going to start with the thin part and just see how that goes. And you can follow your kind of sketchy marks if you want to.
I love this pen.
It's great.
It's super cool. Just has nice little, adds those little details that are fun.
Yeah. And you can have your branch go past the flowers. You can add onto it. This is where you can kind of like shape it. Okay, and then I like decide, do I like the shape of that? Do I need anything else? I actually feel pretty good about that.
Yeah, that looks nice.
Okay, now with your pen, it doesn't have to be like super clean, nice, perfect lines, right? You can go with the sketchy look where you go back and forth on the pen a few times on the line, get different textures. You can use the thicker side, especially along the base, because with branches, it's thicker on the base, and then as it goes out, it thins. But this is your postcard and your painting, so you decide. After you feel good about your branches, I'm going to take a round 2, so I get a smaller mark. I'm going to grab my bleed proof white, and then I can go in and do sharper moments on my...
That's a fun way to phrase it.
Yeah.
Sharper moments.
And you can even go in front of the pen as well, like overlap some of it. So very similar. I love this. I love this technique so much. That's why I keep doing it. But very similar to what we did with the Queen Anne's lace. You can even do Queen Anne's lace coming out there. You can do whatever. I wanted to leave this like just white blossoms on a branch, kind of vague. But this is your painting, so if you don't like that, you can change it.
And whatever you come up with, you're making one moment per brush stroke.
Yeah. Okay, that's it.
Maybe?
I want to do a couple more actually. I just want it to feel a little bit more full in some of these areas. I think I'm missing something coming out of here, so I'm just going to add that. Just a little guy. You can also use a different color besides white if you want to, but I like white. I like the subtlety of white on this like creamy background.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that creamy background wouldn't normally be something I would just gravitate towards.
Yeah.
But man, that looks awesome with the white and the blue.
It's beautiful doing like a tan background with like dropping that white in and then just seeing how it kind of moves. And then if you need to do like a little hint of branch in the middle of that white, you can. Okay, now we are gonna go on to our Kintsugi part. And me and Keenan listened to a YouTube video on how to pronounce it, so hopefully we're saying it right.
I probably won't say it.
Say it now.
Kintsugi.
There you go. And it's actually made up of 2 Japanese words. Keenan, would you like to tell us about them?
Sure. So the 2 parts of this one word that are combined are part 1, ken, which in Japanese is either gold or golden. And the second part is sugi, which means joinery. So putting them together, kintsugi, means you are joining the thing with gold.
Yes. Thank you, Keenan.
You're welcome.
Okay, so we're going to take our gold acrylic paint. I forgot the word. I'm going to use my round 2. And then remember, think of how like things break. Like how much gold you put on there is completely up to you. Like my own personal vase that broke, it was just really one big chunk and like a little detail. Sometimes they break into a lot of pieces. So I like to start, I'm going to start like on the right hand side a little, let's say this is the point of impact where it broke. And then it's going to kind of like thin out as it goes up. Okay?
Sarah, I just realized kintsugi could really be right up your alley.
What do you mean?
It's basically just real life puzzles.
Yes. I love puzzles. And good point, Keenan.
Just figure out your birthday gift, a bunch of broken stuff.
You're like, here, glue it back together. And then think about like, with cracks, sometimes they're really fine, like you get a very thin line, and sometimes they're thicker. So if your line is uneven, that's okay. That's actually accurate to like cracks in pottery where it's not like a perfectly straight line all the time. So some parts can like, you can move your paintbrush to thin it out. That. I just love also gold against this like navy color.
I know.
It's so good.
Right now, the shape makes me think of lightning.
Yeah, kind of like lightning.
Yeah, I love it.
I'm going to do another one here.
I like it a lot.
I like it a lot. And then I feel like I need to do like one coming this way. Ooh, that's so pretty.
That is cool.
And then if you want to do like smaller detail ones. It's hard because I just want to like keep going. But again, it can break in so many different ways and points that I don't think you can really overdo it, you know?
Totally.
And then just at like where they're kind of ending, I'm going to do smaller branching offs. There we go. Oof. Oh, and then if you want to, I just thought this was a nice touch. If your bleed proof white is dry, you can take this gold ink and then almost like it's the center of some of these flowers, if you want. Just kind of touch it here and there.
Well, that's nice.
And that's it.
Wow.
I know. The reveal. I guess you didn't necessarily have to tape this down because we didn't have a clean edge, but sometimes it's nice just for it to be held down while we paint on it.
And it's a good challenge. If you're not one to paint on a straight up and down surface, tape it straight and down, retrain your wrist a little bit, you know?
Yeah. There we go.
Nice.
Gosh, this is just, I think, a beautiful and delicate little painting that we can do for someone. And then as you're painting this, you can think about who is someone that just needs a little bit reminding, a small reminder that they are loved, that I'm thinking about them, that even maybe though something is hard right now, they aren't broken. And with time and perspective, we'll see that usually the times where we feel our most broken actually turn us into someone bigger and stronger. And that's not a fun thing to hear, especially when you're experiencing it. But I have found that to be true. where my most challenging times are times where I can look back and appreciate the growth that I experienced because of those challenging times. So maybe this is to you, or maybe this is to someone that could use that little bit of a reminder. Now, sending watercolor postcards in the mail can be a little bit scary. So if you want to protect them, we do have something called Dorland's wax. It's just a wax that after this dry, you kind of rub onto the top, and it keeps it safe from smudging, water, all of that kind of stuff. It won't protect it from fading in direct sunlight, but that's okay. Really, we just want to make sure it doesn't get messed up in the mail. So if you want to add that to your next order and you like sending postcards, or you like giving like art without it being framed, I highly recommend that you seal it with wax. That's just going to keep it safe. If you do plan on framing watercolor artwork, you don't necessarily have to wax seal it because the glass will protect it. Does that make sense?
That does make sense.
So it's just whatever you want to utilize it for. I just want to give you the information so you can make the right choice for you. And if you have someone that you would like to nominate for our Let's Make Art Matter program, you can go to our website, letsmakeart.com, scroll to the bottom. We have a nominate form that you can submit. And thank you so much for painting with me. It was just a quick little guide, but sometimes just taking 20 minutes out of your day for someone else can make a huge difference. So thank you so much, and I'll see you guys next time. Bye.